let's discuss the pros and cons of the 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE. This is the base model of the 2021 RAV4. Comes standard with a 2.5-liter dynamic force 4-cylinder engine, a direct shift 8-speed automatic transmission, 203 horsepower, and guess what? This leads me to the first pro. In my books, it can be upgraded with all-wheel drive, right? You've got that as an option. You don't have to move up to a different trim level. You can get that within the LE. So if you want just a very basic, small, compact SUV that'll get the job done in all-wheel drive, you can get that with the RAV4. Nicely done, Toyota. It's relatively affordable at $26,150 MSRP for your base model, and I mean, it's not the cheapest within the segment, but it's definitely not the most expensive, and it's it's an attainable goal, truthfully, for many. Comes with a 7-inch touchscreen infotainment system that comes standard with Android Auto, Apple CarPlay, hook up the Alexa, the usual suspects, so that's at least there in the base model. Also comes standard with Toyota Safety Sense, which includes a lot of things. We'll cover those here real quick. We get a pre-collision system with pedestrian detection. So important as far as sensing those things that you are a little bit out of your view, right? And it'll help you to hopefully avoid a big incident. Lane departure alert with steering assist. So you've got that, especially important if you're driving late at night. Maybe you work late. This can help you to avoid scary situations as well. Automatic high beams, which is pretty cool. Full speed range, dynamic radar cruise control, they call it, so you can maintain distance from the cars around you. Really started becoming popular, 5 years ago or so. Now this is becoming more and more standard, but to have it in the base model of the RAV4 is pretty cool in my books. You get road sign assist as well as lane tracing assist. So really important that Toyota is definitely paying attention to safety by including all of those within their standard LE. It's very fuel efficient. You've got that 4-cylinder engine, so you're getting 27 miles per gallon in the city, 35 highway. So you're going to probably average out right around 30 miles per gallon. Which, is pretty solid, especially for a non-hybrid engine, but you're going to pay for that with power, right? We'll get to that later. Standard with LED headlights, so you'll actually be able to see the road in front of you. I don't understand why we are still fighting the halogen headlights problem of today. How come those are coming in standard still on a lot of vehicles? I know there's pluses and minuses to them, but the LEDs I'm a bigger fan of, and I need them in my vehicle, so this is a plus for me. Blind spot monitoring, okay, here it comes. Pro first, right? It is an option in this trim, much like the all-wheel drive. Yes, you need to pay for it, but at least you don't need to upgrade an entire trim level in order to get your hands on it. So that's sort of a muted pro for me. We'll get to something else in the cons on that. You do have pretty solid ground clearance for harsher conditions, snow and off-road and whatever you need to get yourself into. All the fun things that make driving a little more chaotic. You got decent ground clearance. I think it's like 8, a little over 8 inches, right? Which within its segment it's pretty solid. Could be a little bit better, but it's still, in my opinion, more than enough to get you through 99% of the problems out there. So, which is important. Also, you do have a pretty rugged interior, capable of handling the abuse for kids. That's why we get base standard levels, right? Base trims, I should say, in our vehicles. Most of us have kids, and most of us know those kids are going to ruin the nice things we buy. And this one definitely has a super rugged interior that's going to be able to handle it all, right? You've got, you just have traditional standard cloth seats. You've got plastic pretty much everywhere. There's some soft touch here and there, but most of it's built to last. Also comes standard with electronic parking brake, which essentially kind of automatically goes on for you, so no need to worry about that. There's also some soundproofing under the hood, which I really like. Helps to muffle the engine noises, although, I mean, it's only a four-cylinder engine, so it's not the biggest, baddest, loudest engine in the world, but it definitely is going to, muffle those noises, make a little bit of a quieter ride for you. Let's talk about those gauge clusters. Majority of them are analog, which in my opinion is good. I like the the digital gauge clusters right now, for my taste, haven't come far enough along where I would really appreciate them. I like the classic, especially in my base trim level vehicles. Really just sort of brings back a little bit of nostalgia for me. Also, within those gauge clusters, you do have a center digital screen, a small one there that is capable of actually showing you your miles per hour. So you don't only have to rely upon the analog. You do also have dead center in that gauge cluster, the ability to show how fast you're going, which I like a centralized speedometer personally, and this kind of fits the best of both worlds in my opinion. So driving modes are available even on this base model. You've got sport, eco, you've got rock and dirt, etc. All the usuals. You've got great cargo room behind the second row seats. Also, let's go back to hard touch buttons. Can't believe I forgot the hard touch buttons. My goodness. Hard touch buttons and knobs for climate control up front. Um, Basically, all these hard touch buttons cover almost every climate scenario that you might want. Defrost, front and back, max AC heat, easy and intuitive. The things that we've grown up with, the things we've gotten used to, the things that we hate hunting and pecking for while we're on the highway trying to adjust on the fly, right? So they're easy to find. They're right there. You can't miss them. And when your windows start fogging up, you know exactly where to go. And I find that to be important. Um, Also, you do have, speaking of buttons, you've got lane departure, cruise control, radar assist. They're both on the steering wheel, and in intuitive locations, easy to use as far as your steering wheel buttons. Um, Ease of use, ease to control. Once again, you're not hunting and pecking while you're driving, so safety first in that regard. I love that. Speaking of safety, you got a 5-star safety rating from the National Highway Traffic and Safety Administration. 4-star front crash rating. You've got like a 5-star side crash and a 4-star rollover rating. 15.5% rollover risk. So 5 stars. I think that's kind of pushing a little bit, but they say it's a top safety pick from the Insurance Institute for Safety, for highway safety, I should say. So those are the pros of the 2021 RAV4 LE. How about some cons? It is the base model, so you're not going to get a push button start. So it has basically a switchblade key. You don't need to use that key to get into your vehicle. You just need to use it to get started. Some people actually might view this as being a positive. Once again, going back to the analog lover in me, I can appreciate it a little bit, but I do like my push button start. You're going to have to upgrade to a different trim level in order to get that. Infotainment, let's be honest, it's extremely dated looking. It really is. It looks like it's in the baby stages of infotainment, and it needs to grow up a little bit. So obviously, you are going to get pretty much everything you need on it, but it looks kind of clunky, operates a little clunky, has these thick bezels that make the infotainment screen seem more bulky and more intrusive to the driving experience. So I'm going to knock it for that. There's only a single USB port in the front cabin, so that's going to be a little bit more difficult for me to appreciate, because when we go on the long drives, everybody's phone has to be plugged in, right? So you also have free maintenance for the first 2 years or 25,000 miles. Now, that sounds like a pro, you're saying. Well, to me, it's not. It sounds like a gimmick to me. You're going to be paying for this no matter what, and you're probably basically paying for it within the MSRP. They're not going to lose money on this. It's a marketing ploy, and truthfully, first 2 years and 25,000 miles, what does that really amount to? What does that really, really amount to? Not much. And it's just sort of a flashy thing that they're going to throw in front of your face. It's going to be up on billboards. It's going to be up on signs within the dealerships. It's going to say, first 2 years, paid maintenance. And you're not going to sit there and think, well, you know what, really, it's probably only be a couple $100 there and there. And, I don't like it. A lot of brands are doing this now, And truthfully, a lot of brands have longer periods. So, I mean, there might be more value there. But again, it's always rolled into your MSRP. Don't be fooled. No power adjustable front seats and no heated seats. So again, we're standard, standard, standard. We're lucky we get power windows, so which we do. So, but no power adjustable front seats or heated seats. Single zone manual climate control. I mean, do we really need dual climate control? Some people do. Some people do. I've really, for my family, nobody sits there and fights over the dual. So it could be a pro for you. It could be a pro for me. But some people want the dual. So that's not available. Um, I also wish that the second row seats folded flatter for more optimal cargo loading. So if you fold them down and you want to really load up that rear cargo, they don't sink in. They don't sink down nearly far enough. They stick up actually quite a bit. They do fold flat. It's just that they're thick and it kind of pops up where the seats are. And you're gonna. I mean, if you're really trying to lay, a bunch of boards or something in there, I mean, obviously this is probably not the vehicle that you're going to do it in, but if you're really trying to load it up, you're going to be a little off kilter back there, to be honest. So, and let's also talk about the second row recline while we're at it. It's pitiful. There's virtually no recline. This is a pet peeve for me, for sure. There's no third row in this vehicle. There's plenty of cargo space in the back, and you're getting just the tiniest amount of recline, just literally like a couple inches, and you got all that space back there. You could recline all the way back if you wanted to. I know there's safety concerns with that, but I don't know. It's a pretty pitiful recline. So this isn't obviously going to be the best opportunity for you to take the family on long drives, but I mean, it's got the great gas mileage, so you might want to use it for that. So why not recline better? Sorry, I'm gonna quit obsessing about recline. Okay. Also, second row legroom should be better. Once again, going on the same thing as the recline. I know I said it again, but there should be more room back there. In my opinion, you don't have that third row seat. Remember again, and taller drivers will, or people in the passenger seat will likely make rear passengers extremely uncomfortable. So they definitely got a docket for that. I also, going back to the infotainment system, I dislike how the scroll, seek, and track buttons are on the far side of the infotainment system, right? So if you're trying to change radio or do whatever, the driver has way less access to these. You got to reach over to do it, and it can be dangerous. Of course, let's be honest. Let's talk safety. You shouldn't be fiddling with your radio while you're driving anyways, so get it set up to go. But just the location of it, I mean, it seems a little unrealistic. So you're probably going to do a trade-off on that and make use of your voice command buttons on the steering wheel instead, which obviously be a little more safe, and you wouldn't have to reach all the way across. Or, you know what? Just have your person in your passenger seat do the DJing for you is basically what you're going to have to do. Obviously, one plus, one negative, fabric interior. Obviously, you are purchasing a base model RAV4, so this should be expected. But if you want leather, then the LE's not for you. Keep that in mind. If you have to upgrade to the all-weather cargo mat, you can upgrade to it for the back area. This frustrates me because you're purchasing this vehicle in part because the space that's available in the rear, right? You're purchasing it because it is only a two row. It's only a 2-row vehicle. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say. You're purchasing because there is no third row. You've got that cargo space back there, and they should expect you to use it and utilize it. So giving you mats back there that are actually functional for what you need to do and for what the vehicle is set up to do, it just seems fair to me. So the fact that you've got to purchase one, we're gonna knock that one as well. And also, here it comes. No standard blind spot monitoring. I know they gave us the option, and I listed that as a pro because they're going at least halfway there. But again, you sit there and you focus so much on the Toyota safety sense. Why is this not included within that? Why is that just not automatic? I personally think blind spot monitoring is one of the most important things in the vehicle, and making it safer for us to drive, for us to take our family on a haul, and accomplish things throughout the day should be a standard, especially when safety is a number one concern, which I do think it is for the RAV4, but it seems like no vehicles out there have blind spot monitoring as standard. They want to use that one. That's their hook, line, and sinker for getting you to go up a trim level, and it drives me nuts. So I would have to upgrade automatically to blind spot monitoring. So, and last but not least, obviously I wish it was faster, but let's be honest. I mean, it's a 4-cylinder. It's, it's got 203 horsepower. It's an engine that's built to get great gas mileage and get you around town. You're not going to be blowing off the doors out of anybody driving next to you. That's not the goal of this vehicle. It's to be functional, and I do think there's definitely a place in this world for the 2021 Toyota RAV4 LE.